What's going on, guys? I'm Tommy, and I'm coming at you with an action figure review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Hasbro The Black Series Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker from Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. I think almost every Star Wars fan could agree that this is one of, if not the most iconic moment in all of Star Wars. Over the last almost 50 years of content, this scene has remained one of the most iconic and memorable scenes of the entire franchise. So for Hasbro to give us a new set with a diorama piece, a little vignette piece for this awesome iconic duel, I think is very, very special, and I'm very excited to have a copy of this to review for you today. This release was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive here in the United States for 2025, and I did pick it up on a pre-order through Hasbro Pulse. I think as of the recording of this review, it is pre-sold out. I believe they've maybe done a restock or two, and I believe all of them have sold out as well. But maybe, just maybe, if you're watching this review and you keep your eyes peeled on Hasbro Pulse, this thing might go in stock once again. The packaging here is really, really cool. This is like a blown up version of the older 2-pack style packaging they've gone with in the Black Series here. This feels very premium, matching the packaging that we had earlier this year for the Darth Sidious and Mace Windu 2-pack from Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So you have no window on the front of the box here, just this really cool kind of grayscaled mural of Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker clashing sabers on the Cloud City platform there. And then up here in blue, you have the Black Series logo. This is the same shade of blue that they use for the Empire Strikes Back kind of subline to signify that it's from that media. Down below there, you have the name of the movie in that same blue color and some of your logos and legalese. The tapered edges are really cool on the sides of the box as well. On this side, we have Darth Vader, and he looks absolutely amazing in his Empire Strikes Back garb. And then down here, you have the names of both the characters, and then on this side of the box they give you Luke Skywalker, and he's all tattered up and battle damaged and, you know, trying to fight for his life against Darth Vader there. And again, you get both of the character names at the bottom. On the back of the box here, you get this really cool kind of diagram showing you the figures on the platform that we're going to get itself. I have seen some QC issues that have happened with this platform piece, specifically with the railings. Some people have been getting duplicate pieces of railings as opposed to all the individual pieces you're supposed to get. I haven't opened this yet, as is pretty common with my reviews. I don't even open these until we record the review and you get my genuine first impressions. So hopefully we get the good one here that doesn't have the QC issue. On the back of the packaging, though, we do have our Black Series logo again, our character names, and then a bio in about 1,000 different languages. This bio reads, "Overpowering a battered and bloodied Luke Skywalker in Cloud City, Sith Lord Darth Vader revealed a frightening truth, that he was Luke's father." Spoiler alert! Way to go, Hasbro. Anyway, let's keep looking at some of the other features here. They give you in about 1,000 different languages some of the features of the set, such as attachable clash effect for the sabers here, posable soft goods cape for Darth Vader. This, for me, was probably the biggest draw to getting this set. Not the platform, but actually the Vader coming with a wired cape. And then just down here includes display base. We also have, again, the name of the movie and all our legalese at the bottom. Guys, please don't feed these action figures to your babies. On the bottom of the box, we have even more legalese, and on the top, nothing. That about wraps it up for the packaging. So let's get these guys opened and we'll check them out. Alright guys, here is the whole set out of the box. You can see both the figures here as well as the massive diorama piece behind them. I think what we're going to do first here is we're going to check out the diorama piece first. I want to see if this is the one that has that quality control issue that's been happening with some people's sets. So this is the display base itself here. This thing is gigantic, man. And it is a very thin plastic, but there's nothing wrong with that for a display base like this. Most of it is just done in a light gray plastic, and then this piece is a just dark gray piece of plastic here. I don't even think this is painted. I think it's just two separate pieces, which that's completely fine. I don't see a problem with that. No reason to paint things if you don't really need to. It's got some basic sculpted detail here just to kind of pad out how it looks, even though it is hollow on the inside. I'm glad that they did kind of have a wall on the sides here to hide all of the, you know, untextured, unpainted plastic here. So obviously there's some assembly required here. We do have this separate piece, which is again just done in a light gray sculpt here. This plugs into this little T-shaped connector on the back here. This will just kind of snap into place here, and that's what that looks like connected. So then there's all the railing pieces, and these come in 2 little plastic baggies here. So in this one, you get approximately 5 pieces of the railing. I think these ones are separated because they all have the paint for the little orange lights here. And then the other bag here has 5 little clear pieces that we're going to plug into the base of the platform here. I think we'll do these last after we get the rest of these railing pieces connected. All right, so bear with me, guys. We're going to try and figure out together how these go in. So these ones are thin. I'm going to probably do these ones last, and then we'll kind of work our way around with the rest of them. So we'll kind of start here. This one is the only thin one that has little pieces. Oh, and are these numbered? They are numbered down here. You can see all the different pieces. So I wonder, yeah, so they do have corresponding numbers here on the bottoms here that are kind of embedded into the bottom. You can see the number 2 on this one. Well, that's really nice, because then that means that we will be able to match this up with the number 2 that's in the base. That is a very clever way to set all this up. These are pretty flimsy, so just be careful. You don't want to, you know, yam on them too much, because then they might break. So just be careful of that. And this will be a great way as well for me to check and see if we got duped. So fortunately for me, though, I see 2 that have the number 3 embedded here, so we'll be able to put these in and not have any issues. So far, so good. And then here we have another number 2, which matches up with this corresponding number 2. So we're still doing so far so good here. And these are number 1 and number 4. So we have a number 4 piece right here, so we'll plug that in right there. And then we have a number 1 piece here. We'll plug that in on this one. So the last one here, we have another number 1 and another number 4. And it looks like we got lucky, because we have another number 4 and another number 1 here. So we'll get that plugged in, and then we'll get this one plugged in, and then the odd man out here is this guy right here, which is the number 7, and here's number 7 here. And then we'll take our little thin railings and we will put those in on these sides here. These ones are much smaller, but they still do have numbers in here as 5 and 6. And there we go. So this is what this should look like with all the correct railings attached. You'll see they make a nice symmetrical shape here, aside from the little ones right here. But thankfully, we did not get the set that had the QC issue. And then the next thing we will assemble here are the little clear rods that do plug into the base here. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to put these in. They look pretty symmetrical on both sides. And with all the struts connected, we do have a pretty secure base here. You'll see it's a little lopsided. I know that some of these can push in a little bit more deeply, but it's a little bit hard to get some of those in. But yeah, you can get a nice base here. Everything looks good. I like how clear they are, and they sit very nicely underneath. And then the final part of our assembly here is going to be this little piece that Darth Vader chops in half. When he goes, Luke hits him and he goes, ah, mwah, and he slaps it in half there with the lightsaber. You'll see they did also paint some cauterized markings there for that. And then what we'll do here is you just connect these two pieces so you can have the look of it before Vader chops it in half, and then you can also have the look after. There is obviously that little separation there, which can break the illusion a little bit, but me, I don't really care. I think it's cool that they included it at all. It's got a connector down here next to that little T-shaped connector we added at the beginning, and you'll see everything looks really cool when it's all together like this. I think this is a really well done diorama piece here. All right, guys, so now that we've covered the diorama piece that comes as part of the set, let's take a look at the two figures that also come with the set. We have Darth Vader here, and then we have our Bespin Luke. As always with Black Series reviews, let's take a look at the accessories before we take a look at the figures themselves. So let's start with Darth Vader. His only accessory here is going to be his iconic lightsaber. So this lightsaber, of course, has some great painted and sculpted detail here. You'll see all of the black and silver detail on the saber. You can also see the little hook that's sculpted on there for this to go onto his belt. We've seen this lightsaber several times in the Black Series line, and what I do really like about this, though, is this nice, deep, vibrant red color for that translucent lightsaber blade. This is great. These darker, more vibrant colors really help to pop more on the shelf than the paler colors that they tended to use sometimes back in the day. This does obviously remove from the hilt, as most Black Series sabers do, and you can see that's what those look like as they're separated. Our Luke Skywalker here comes with a couple accessories. The first one he comes with is his blaster pistol, his sidearm that he does have in this sequence in the movie. It's got some nice detail detail here with some brown painted in a strip on the grip of the blaster here. Other than that, pretty plain. It does have actually a little bit of painted detail up on the barrel of the blaster as well. A really nice looking blaster and very accurate to what we see Luke have in the movie, so great to have that. There is also weapon storage on the figure. We'll show that off later. Obviously, this being a lightsaber duel scene, it would be fitting for Luke to come with his iconic lightsaber here. So you can see they did go with the Empire specific look for this lightsaber. There are the little indentations in the bottom of the grips towards the pommel of the hilt, which is accurate to the Empire look of the saber. And then we have the, again, sculpted ring on the base of the hilt. So this can go on Luke's belt, which is, again, really cool. And then we also have that really nice, very dark blue, very vibrant color for that lightsaber blade again. And just like Vader's saber, that does remove, and that's what those look like separated too. And then our last accessory, and this one actually works really nicely with both figures at the same time, is this lightsaber clash effect. This is a really cool detail they've been adding with some of the duel sets that have come out here in 2025, and I'm a big fan of this inclusion. So Luke Skywalker is a newly tooled figure, but we're going to set him off to the side here. We're going to take a look at Darth Vader first. Now at face value, this Darth Vader figure is exactly the same as any previous Darth Vader figure in the Black Series. This one being the Empire specific look for this character, it is the same figure as the one we got back, and I want to say 2020 was when that other Darth Vader figure came out from the Galaxy packaging with the single carded look for the mainline release. Now this one, however, does have a big thing that makes him stand apart, and that is a wired soft goods cape. This is only the second time we've ever seen Black Series incorporate wired soft goods into one of their figures, and Vader, I think, is a great option to do something like that. And one thing about this is this gigantic tag they put on here. I understand with this being technically a toy, if they have to put a tag on soft goods like this, I get it because of the wire in there. However, if they could make the tag just a little smaller, I'd be fine with that too. Luckily, the tag is hidden pretty well behind the figure, so we can still get him into plenty of poses. I know a lot of people also just cut the tag off. That's also an option, obviously. But this soft goods cape is really nice. It's just one big wire that runs all along the edge of the cape here, and I think that that's masterfully done. We'll be able to get some really cool windswept poses with our Vader figure, hopefully, and I'm really excited to get him posed up with that. Otherwise, though, this is just your basic Darth Vader figure. You can see a Darth Vader's helmet and mask here. You have that very nice glossy black plastic for the helmet itself, and you have some very, very subtle silver details on the front here with a glossy black visors, just to add some basic detail to the figure here. And then again with that nice silver at the close to the neck of the helmet there too, just adding some metallic pizzazz to the figure. The chest plate is done really nicely in that same glossy black and that silver color. The chest box here has lots and lots of painted detail with some red, some blue, some white, some silver. We have some green in here down at these little control boxes down here as well. You can see his belt buckle looks really cool too. The shoulder armor is also done in that silver and black look, and then the glossy black gloves are very nice as well. The leather texture of the plastic on this figure looks awesome. I think they did a great job on that. And then obviously the straps underneath the chest plate and the skirt piece are also soft goods. No, they are not wired, but that's fine by me. What matters more to me is that big billowing cape. That's something I've always wanted on a Black Series Darth Vader, is a wired cape feature. Aside from that though, this is the Darth Vader figure that we know from the Black Series line. They still have the pinned double jointed knees, which in my opinion is a big letdown. I think that would have been my one thing with this set that I would nitpick, is that I would have preferred the Vader be brand new as well, with some more modern articulation. They don't even have to change much other than those legs, because the Vader is very serviceable in the Black Series. It's just those legs that I'm not a fan of. As far as articulation goes on our Vader here, like I said, we'll ignore the wired cape because we've already talked about it. The head has a barbell joint system, so you have a ball joint up in the top and a ball joint at the base of the neck, so you'll get plenty of range out of that head there. You can get Vader to look down, which is good. He can also look up a little bit, which is nice. You can get some good tilt out of that head, which is awesome, and your right and your left. And what's cool about the Empire Strikes Back Vader is he's the only Darth Vader in the Black Series to feature butterfly joints, and you can see them, they're hidden pretty deeply into the torso there, but they do have some nice forward and back motion there, which really help the articulation on this guy. There's also a hinge and swivel at the shoulders here. Those hinges are going to get you to maybe not quite that 90-degree mark, but definitely not 45, somewhere in the middle there. I think it depends on how you bring those arms up with those soft goods in there. They do also swivel a full 360 degrees. You do have those deep cut single jointed elbows. Those are going to get you well past that 90-degree mark, which is awesome for Black Series. We do also have a swivel at the top of the elbow there, and then at the wrists we have hinge and swivel as well. So at the right wrist you have that swivel with a horizontal hinge, and then you have the same thing at the left wrist here, except this one's in a little bit more of a force gesture pose, like he's force choking somebody like he does in A New Hope, so that's a good inclusion as well. Vader does have a ball joint, which is just above the waist here, and that's going to get you some extra added range for the figure, which is good. And then we have some ball joints at the hips, which are also going to offer some decent range of motion too. He does have a cut for a thigh swivel, so that's great, some extra added articulation there. And then we have these ugly pinned double jointed knees. They do offer a lot more range of motion than the single jointed knees do. I just feel like from the front, they just look really, really bad, and that's my reason for not really liking the double jointed knees. And then of course at the ankles here, we have our forward facing pin for rocker, as well as that hinge, which gets you maybe the slightest amount of forward, definitely almost none there. And then we get plenty of back on that ankle too. So overall, it's the Black Series Darth Vader with an added soft goods cape, and it being the Empire Vader means it's the best one because it does have those butterfly joints in there. So I'm happy with this. I just would have preferred if he had some new tooling on those legs. Setting Vader off to the side, let's now take a look at our Luke Skywalker. Now this Luke Skywalker is pretty much brand new head to toe. It is a new figure with a new likeness, and I think that this was a huge draw for a lot of people on this set. So let's take a closer look at him here. I think that the likeness on this Luke is actually really good, especially for an Empire Strikes Back Mark Hamill, and especially with how much Hasbro tends to struggle with their Mark Hamill likenesses in this line. I think this one is really, really done well. I think that especially considering he has all this extra scarring on that left eye, which is painted really nicely, by the way. They did a great job of getting all of Mark Hamill's features and making him look exactly like the actor. The hair also seems to have a little bit of a wash to it, just a little bit of depth and texture added with some basic paint detail there. And the costume is dirtied up to the nines. I think that there's an actual wash on this flight suit here, which is absolutely just nuts to me, and that's something I'm very, very excited about. When Hasbro goes the extra mile and really weathers those figures up, they do such a good job with it. And seeing how dirty front and back, head to toe, this figure is, you can tell he is fighting for his life against Darth Vader. So from feeling the figure here, it looks like the actual shirt portion of the upper torso here is going to be an overlay, and that's going to help with the butterfly joints theoretically. But just look at all the little tears and all the sculpted detail on this costume. It looks really, really nice. The flaps on the pockets, you know, kind of being all over the place here, things falling off of his costume, everything is really, really cool. And I also think they did a good job color matching for the most part when it comes to them painting the little cauterized wounds here where he gets cut up by Lord Vader. And again, just even parts on this overlay where you have little tatters of clothing just kind of falling off. Very, very well done. This figure's really fun to look at, and the closer of a look you take to him, you realize his costume isn't as plain as it appears at face value. You'll see he has a trigger finger sculpted in the right hand there, obviously being for his blaster, and then the left hand has more of a C-gripping hand. The belt is also done really, really nicely here, so kind of moving these arms up and out of the way. The belt is its own overlay. It connects to the right thigh and then around the waist as well. You'll see that buckle is nice with that dirtied silver and dark gray paint there. You'll see lots of silver paint hits on all the facets and buttons and, you know, hooks and hinges throughout the belt there. And they did not paint the ones on the back of the belt. And then down here we get to the pants, and again you can see where the pants have ripped and they have that exposed skin tone color there for Mark Hamill. Again, looking really, really nice. And then the boots are also done pretty well too. These are very similar to the boots we see on Hoth at the beginning of the film, so very, very nice. For a figure that his costume is all one color, they did a great job weathering this up, and I honestly wasn't expecting them to weather it up as well as they have. Taking a look at Luke's articulation here, Luke is a newer figure, so he's going to have a lot of the more modern Black Series articulation. He also features the barbell neck, so you have a barbell joint that goes up into the head and a ball joint at the base of the neck. You're going to be able to get a lot of range of motion out of that, like some really nice down as well as some really nice up, and then we have some good tilt, some really nice tilt, and some right and some left. He also has butterfly joints that are hidden underneath this overlay. You can see even with the overlay there, you can still get some really decent range forward and and back with those. He also has a hinge and swivel at the shoulders. The hinge is going to get you to about 90 degrees there, and then the swivel gets you a full 360 degrees. He has some very deep cut single jointed elbows there, which are going to get you well past that 90-degree mark of bend, honestly closing in on what the limits of the human anatomy are. That's really impressive for a single jointed hinge there. There is also a swivel at the top of the elbow, and then at the wrists we have a hinge and swivel. So you have the vertical hinge on that right wrist and then a horizontal hinge on that left wrist. He has a ball joint which seems to be up towards the middle of the torso here. You can see you can get plenty of extra range out of that. The overlay for the shirt rides nicely over the belt so it doesn't hinder when you're trying to move the figure around. We also have ball joints at the hips here, and you can see you can get plenty of range out of those as well. Now, they did eliminate the cut for the thigh swivel on the legs here, but they do have that new modified hip joint that Black Series has been using. You can see you can still get some really nice in and out there while also leaving out that cut for that thigh swivel. So this is one of the definitely better examples of how that new hip joint works in this line. Luke also has deep cut single jointed knees. Those are going to get you past that 90-degree mark, which is great for this line. And then you have a swivel at the top of the knee as well. And then at the ankles, we have our Hasbro Classic, that forward facing pin for rocker. The forward hinge does get you to move forward a decent amount. You just have to kind of move it over the strap that's sculpted into the bottom of the boot here. And then it also has some really nice back. So Luke has some great articulation here, and he looks great as well. Thankfully, Vader is a very plain character, and that the pins on those knees are hidden by the soft goods, because man, Luke would really be outshining this character. And just look how nicely these two characters scale together as well. Very, very nice. Let's check them out with their accessories here. So Darth Vader obviously does have a spot on his belt. You can see on the left side there is a hook for his lightsaber hilt. That does sit there nicely. However, it's not going to land there very securely, so it's going to very easily get bumped off, especially with all the soft goods pushing it around. So if you want it there, I'd recommend getting the pose that you want and then putting the lightsaber hilt on the belt. I think that's just the best way to go about something like that. As for Luke here, we can get him with his blaster pistol in the holster here, and that fits really nicely too. There's no strap holding it in there, but it does pass the shake test. You won't have to worry about that falling out of the holster. And then his lightsaber hilt can also go on a hook that can be found on his left side of his belt. That's a little bit more secure than what Vader has. Like, I can shake the figure around a little bit, but I still wouldn't trust it. I still would just say, hey, make sure that you pose the figure first and then put the lightsaber hilt on last if that's what you plan on doing. Here we have Vader with lightsaber on the belt here, looking so epic. Dude, I love soft goods, and Black Series, in both the instances that they've included wired soft goods on the capes this year, both with the Celebration exclusive Ronin and now this figure, man, they have knocked it out of the park. They're a 2 for 2 in my opinion, and this is just a great pose for the "No, I am your father. Search your feelings, you know it to be true." I love it. This is awesome. This just adds so much display value to a character like Darth Vader, man. And it's awesome to have billowing wired soft goods like this. As for Luke, I thought a great pose to get him into. Obviously, this would be before he gets all scarred up, but just having him where he's prowling the area of Cloud City, getting shot at by Boba Fett. I think this is a great pose for this figure. He's got a great center of gravity. So easy to pose. Obviously, though, this is the Bespin duel, so we are going to want to get these guys with their lightsabers in hand. So attaching Luke's lightsaber blade to the hilt is really easy to do, and then the fingers on that right hand do stretch really easily, so you don't have to worry about, really getting the paint all scratched up on that lightsaber hilt to get the lightsaber in hand, and it has a very nice fit in the one hand there. Vader's going to be the same thing. You'll notice that his little peg system here is just a little bit tapered, and that is to help you technically get it in the right way for Vader here. And obviously Vader, we're going to have him with the lightsaber in the right hand as well. Vader being an older figure, you're going to probably have better luck sliding the hilt in from the top of the hand, but you can still get it in there very nicely. The clash effect is really easy to use. You're just going to take one or both of the sabers and just slip it into the little hinge there, and then you can move it up and down the sabers there just to get that nice effect there. And here we have, you should recognize this if you're any fan of The Empire Strikes Back. I love how easy it was to get this effect here and just get such an iconic shot from this movie. I do also want to point out too, the wired cape is great not just for billowing dynamic poses, but also you just want it to lay down nicely by the sides of the figure. It just lays a lot more naturally sometimes than those non-wired soft goods. And here is a really nice pose, just bringing the whole set together here. You can see Luke through the holes in the railings here, fighting for his dear life right before he gets his hand chopped off by a very aggravated Darth Vader. This set is amazing. If you can find a way to get your hands on this set for a good price, you absolutely should. I think this is just a wonderful Black Series set, one of the best releases of the year. As somebody who tends to get a lot more excited about prequel and Clone Wars era releases, I think that this is an absolutely jaw-dropping release for the Black Series, and if they keep this kind of quality and ingenuity up for the line going forward, the Black Series will really be going places in the future. This is 100% a set worth getting. Both figures are welcome upgrades to existing versions that are in the line, and this diorama piece is just awesome in both looks and size. But with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did and you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to Blitz Transmissions. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. If you're an ARC Trooper in my Patreon, you would have seen this review early. If you'd like access to early content, monthly giveaways, and other awesome benefits, be sure to check out the link to my Patreon in the description below. Become an ARC Trooper for just $4.99 a month. If you're a fan of the reviews I do here on YouTube, or you'd like to support the YouTube channel more directly, you could also check out my YouTube channel membership, Rancor Battalion. For just 99 cents a month, it gives you access to all my reviews early, as well as exclusive badges and priority replies in my comment section, and you get to vote on what I review next for the channel, just like the Patreon members do. If you'd like some Blitz Transmissions swag, you could always head over to the Blitz Transmissions Armory over on Printify. Link to that is in the description below, as well as links to my Discord and all my social media. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll catch you for the next one, and may the Force be with you.
Breaking off. All units, fire at will. 1-2, pick your targets. Too many, Captain. Watch your stabilizer, Gold 6. Anybody cover me. I got 2 vultures on my tail. Gotta hold them here. Watch your left. I can't shake them. I'm hit. Where's our reinforcements?